Hi, I wanted to talk just briefly about this question about when the problem that you think is the problem is not actually the problem at all. It really is very common. And I had a session a couple of weeks ago with a lady who had an issue with eating sweets, was what she presented with. And it was a problem for her because she was doing a lot of it, and especially at night time, watching TV, kind of mindlessly eating sweets and not even aware of how many she was eating and that. And it was something that she was felt was a problem because it was also making her ill, and it was also something she was afraid of putting on weight with. So we talked a bit about that, sort of with some questions. It was through conversational hypnosis, which is just basically having a chat. And so we talked, back and forth about the sweets and getting candy and going to the shop and making sure that she had plenty of sweets and things in the house. Um, but what transpired with sort of, a little bit further on in the conversation was that when she was younger as a child, and when she had some spare pocket money, that she actually used to go and buy sweets, and this was her treat for herself and for the family. And the family didn't have much luxury at the time, so it was something that really she enjoyed doing, and it was her little treat, and sort of she'd share it with her family, and her family were all together. And it was something then that she figured was actually she enjoyed those childhood memories because her family were all together, so it was never ever about the sweets and overindulging in the sweets. It was what it represented for her. And for her, it was that connection with her family, which at the time she said she was missing because her family now were scattered and she'd lost some family members. So there was a bit of heartache in there as well. So it was a connection to her childhood. And it was quite interesting that. So and transpired that she really had some decisions and things to make around that, around her current situation. So again, it was never really about the sweets, and we could have talked about that all evening, but it was actually more about what the connection was from the sweets, what it gave her. So it was something buried in her subconscious. Eating those sweets connected her, that made her feel she was soothed by it. I mean, other examples are quite common. For instance, I mean, addiction is it's a symptom. It's a symptom of something else. And people, for instance, who are maybe in stressful jobs and they start or they're drinking a bit more than they should, or they start gambling or shopping addiction. That's something that's very common as well, to sort of, soften that anxiety and make the person, it's self-soothing really is what it is. And it can be down to the person will say, well, I'm stressed, it's stress and it's making me do this, and it's making me drink more, making me eat more, and all of the different various addictions that we have in human nature. But sometimes if you dig a bit deeper, that stress is actually based on, well, I never wanted this job in the first place, and I just got really good grades and I kind of fell into it because it's what was expected of me, and it's not really me at all, and I'm a square peg in a round hole. So often, even what's presented as a problem of stress and, oh, I have too much work, I have too much this, I can't cope, there very often is actually an underlying cause for that, a feeling of low self esteem. Because sometimes, and it's quite common as well, you find a bigger workload for one person could cause them a lot of stress. But for another person, they can see it as a challenge and take it in their stride. And it's like, well, why is that? People are different because people have different, everybody has a multitude of factors and elements to their lives, their environment, their background. And that person who becomes stressed, they may feel ultimately that, well, this wasn't really the job that I wanted to do ever. So this is just too much work for me and I'm not enjoying it. So there's a whole background to it. And another person is actually enjoying it and relishing it and welcomes more work because it'll help them advance or something in that job. So even just, as I say, a symptom of stress, there will very often be more reasoning and more layers, if you like, underneath that. So the presenting problem is more often than not the problem. There will very often be something else. The presenting problem is usually what's in your conscious awareness, your day to day, what you imagine the problem is. And that's totally normal. You haven't got it wrong. You're experiencing symptoms, you're experiencing anxiety and stress, and they're real symptoms. I'm not saying you're making them up, but the cause of it can often be something in the subconscious as well, some fundamental sort of discord or disconnect in the person's life. I hope that's been helpful. I hope it's been some food for thought. And I will be doing plenty more videos. Anyway, have a great evening. Bye for now.